Welcome to the Pickleball Talks, a podcast of the Interact Pickleball Network. Today, we're going to be speaking of the business side of pickleball. We're welcoming George Domicetti from the World Pickleball Convention and Carl Foster from the World Pickleball Conference. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
How are you, Mark? Thanks for having us.
Absolutely amazing. How you doing, Carl?
Awesome. Couldn't be better.
Fantastic. Okay. So let's just jump right into it. So pickleball now has become not just a game and not just a sport. Now there's a dynamic business aspect of it. And both of you are involved very heavily in that. So I'd really love to tell the audience both a little bit about what you do with the World Pickleball Convention, George, and Carl with the World Pickleball Conference. So George, if you want to start, it'd be fantastic.
Sure. We started let me start back to the days of COVID when I started playing pickleball. And it was growing, it was exploding at that time. So being in the trade show industry that I was in with Carl many years ago, I don't want to date myself, but about 35 years ago. And we worked in the trade show industry. He was in the broadcasting side of it. And I was actually in the trade show side of it. And since somebody's going to do a pickleball expo one of these days, it better be me first. So I said, let me just do it. I went to the convention center, booked the hall, and this started. I was in 2022, I think. And we had probably about 1,300 people come, about 60 vendors. And it was fun. I mean, I didn't really have any negative comments from it. It was pretty much mostly positive. We kept going at it. Carl was helping me a lot. He was in the industry for a long time, in the pickleball industry and tennis industry, so he knew a lot of people. And he introduced me to quite a few people. So we went one after another. Then we went to Vegas for one. We did one in Vegas, back to Palm Beach, and here we are in 2026. And it's actually our sixth one. So we've done it in Vegas, 3 times in Palm Beach, Atlantic City, and New Jersey. But we're back here in Palm Beach. This is kind of home for us. This is actually home for us. And it's going to be the biggest one for sure. And Humana is going to be the title sponsor of it, or is the title sponsor. And we have quite a few other good sponsors and exhibitors coming out. Innovations like crazy. There's so many new innovative products that I can't wait to see, especially I want to play against that pickleball robot. I'm very interested in doing that.
Your lineup is incredible. Where was the first convention held?
Right here in Palm Beach, at the Palm Beach Convention Center.
Now it's circling back. That's amazing. Yeah. And how many vendors do you have slated so far?
We have over 100 vendors right now.
That's absolutely spectacular. I took a list of some of those vendors, and the diversity is incredible. What a representation about what's going on in society in general, and then within the world of pickleball.
Sure. Yeah. Of everything from, like I said, that robot that plays pickleball. It's kind of a pickleball machine, like a ball machine. However, it covers the court. So you hit it back, and then it hits you makes you move to your right, makes you move to your left, and get all these things and whatnot. So I'm really curious to see that. We have someone with a scoreboard that you just hang up for personal use. You hang it up on the court, and you touch your watch, and it keeps the score every time you get a point. You just touch your watch, and the score changes. It also keeps track of the side. Just a whole plethora. There's a guy with a pickleball paddle. I think you spoke to him. Right?
Yes, I did. It was an amazing, absolutely amazing couple, husband and wife team. And they really have a very unique product that it's going to really change how you can, track all of your swings, your swing speed, the angle. Actually, you can even measure the pounds per square inch for when you do a dink, and it can actually say some of the pros and what level they're playing at and how they do it so you can replicate it.
It's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of great people. You just had Felicity here from Polo, and she's bringing a new product. They're launching a new product at the convention. Humana is going to be giving the title, the keynote, and to open the convention.
It's amazing what Humana is doing, because I'm also associated with U.S. Senior Pickleball. So Humana is really getting people on the courts and sponsoring different types of facilities and reimbursing them to keep people healthier.
Yeah. And Carl's got the conference going on. Last year he had like 50 plus speakers, and he packed the place upstairs, and it was great. It was great all around. Can't wait for the next one.
Don't forget the fashion show.
Oh, well, yeah, we have the runway fashion show. Every day there's a new runway fashion show with activewear, mostly activewear, but some people sneak in there that have like innovations and, keep your cool vests and things like that. So
how do you come about all those different vendors? Do they sort you out after all these years, or is it something where you got to really get out there and
I don't actively go out and look for exhibitors. I actually just market the experience, market the show itself, and then the exhibitors find us and they say, "Hey, we'll be an exhibitor. How do we do it?" So it's pretty much it. I haven't really actively gone out there and looked for exhibitors, so it was pretty easy.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm still fairly new to the industry, but over the last couple of years, I've heard about the convention and how exciting it is and how it's dynamic. It's always bringing the newest aspects of pickleball to the community. So we're really looking forward to it. And what's the dates that it's going to be?
October 16th, 17th, and 18th at the Palm Beach County Convention Center.
Don't forget the demo courts. You're going to have courts. You're going to have competition, and even a padel court. So
he's here.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Believe me,
Casey misses out on anything here. So,
and I'm still learning from him. So it's full. It's the triangle that's going on here, the triumvirate. So there you go. That's it. Exactly. So, Carl, tell me a little bit of what's going on in the future of the World Pickleball Conference. I know we were just out in Chicken and Pickle out in Las Vegas, and you put on a great conference out there, and we had a lot of fun, and a lot of new information got out there in terms of the business side of pickleball and what's happening in the industry currently, the state of the nation of pickleball. So, if you could kind of expand upon that.
Yeah, the conference, we expanded. We started the conference not the first year of the convention, but so the second year we decided let's add a conference to the convention. So we started doing that at the second Palm Beach, and we did it out in Vegas. We did a conference out in Vegas, and we just got back from Vegas. Now this time we did a conference by itself. We didn't do the expo, so we only had the conference, and the conference is really business to business, and it's really taking the business issues and solutions and new innovations and the growth of the sport, focusing a lot on the global expansion of the sport. We've had all the federations there, the Global Pickleball Federation, the World Pickleball Federation, the International Association of Pickleball. So we had all three of those groups in the same room in Palm Beach last year for the first time. They've all came together. So we sort of brought them together. They wouldn't speak together on the panel session, but we did get them to sit down, and they did forge a strategic relationship afterwards. So we're happy about that. It's really what, we're trying to bring people. Our conference, it's a strategic partnership conference. So the people that you met out there, you learn, instead of just doing on a conference or a Zoom call, you're actually sitting down. We have cocktail parties, we have lunches. You're able to really exchange business cards, set up meetings afterwards, and do business together. Renee Pratt's met Cal Yates in Naples at our U.S. We did a beta test at our first conference without an expo was during the U.S. Open, and George was there also speaking. And so that was just 10 minutes from the U.S. Open at the Italian American Foundation. A small conference, had about 150 people. We had about 30 speakers, just one-day conference. This one's going to be a 2-day conference where we have speakers for 2 full days tackling. And I'm working on all the agenda topics now, and just so many things are changing. It's a $35 billion industry right now. You talk about the business of pickleball. An influx of capital like Pickleball Inc. just raised, another $250 million influx of capital. So between the MLP and the PPA and the APP and the UPL and the MPL and every APL, you name it. There's pickleball leagues from the youth to the seniors, to super seniors. I mean, right now there's all categories covered. That's the beauty of pickleball and the growth of the culture and the building the community. It's from 8 to 80, literally. And you're seeing people from all age groups, men and women. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. I can't even say the word. You know what I mean?
Of course I do. Everybody out there who belongs to the United Nations.
Everybody.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're from and who you are,
that's
right?
it. Exactly it.
You put a pickleball paddle in your hand and you start playing.
Well, that's the whole premise of the show, right? And the thing is that day in Naples at the Italian American Community Center really did change my life in the sense that I started to see the business side of pickleball, and I looked at it and I said, "Wow, this is as bifurcated as our society is." And the whole premise of the show is that, we have the opportunity to put our paddles up, and the first paddle could be somebody who is of one faith, and then 1 through 4 could be all different faiths or from different states or from different countries. But we have the opportunity to make friends and the opportunity to cure loneliness, right? But that's what it is. And then we look at the business aspect of it and you go, wow, we have all these different facilities, facility owners, and then we have different leagues, which is the business, right? And you can't even remember all the different initials and letters because it's constantly changing, and people are coming together, and sometimes they're rewriting the rules from what I see, right? And then it's a further subdivision, but it's bringing it back together, and it's actually formulating. And this new league that's being put together at the UPL, right? From what I understand, the UPL is going to be the bridge and to start to bring a youth program in that's going to really be something that really gets into the community. I'm very excited to hear about that. So, as we went to the World Pickleball Conference in Las Vegas, I got to see something that was really beautiful, is that you have 2 competing facility owners who are very big in the industry. And I spoke of the topic at the time was on the dais with the wonderful Adriana Falco from the Weekly Pickleball magazine, was the fact that it's not just about competition. And I speak on this podcast about how you represent yourself on the court, right? And that the point is never more important than the person. But something that I saw really great was they had 2 people, Will Richardson and Renee Prats, who in all essence are competitors, and talk about not just being competitors, but the topic I was talking about, co-opetition, how we all have to work together. There's a big pie out there, right? And we raise the bar of social consciousness through working together. And that's what this is all about.
Well, it's sharing the knowledge, and that's the basis of our conference, is coming together. We've had most of all these franchise owners. The Dill Dinkers has 34 now. Pickleball Kingdom has like 50. The Pickler, the Flying Pickle. I mean, you see out in Vegas within the last year where we were at the Chicken and Pickle. We went to all the Chicken and Pickles. There's 14 locations. This in Vegas at Henderson was their largest one. But Dave Johnson gave a great keynote speak about, food and beverage is 80% of their business, and they bring out the families. They're out there. He said, pickleball is the cheese to bring the mice in. Because all the families are out there playing cornhole, they're playing Battleship, they're playing, you got the upstairs, you have the nice rooftop bar and lounge, there's groups. Then we had the veterans event. So we had a team competition with all the veterans.
Which was absolutely fantastic.
It was
great. It was a wonderful, wonderful event that you hosted and put together for the veterans. So thank you, Carl. I know you're a veteran yourself. So thank you to all those people who were there and yourself for your service.
Yeah. George is also a veteran.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, thank you, George, as well.
Navy SEAL, Purple Heart. He's shy about it. He doesn't want to promote it, but I always throw him under the bus. But so yeah, we go back. We started.
Not only does he look like a movie star, he could be a movie star.
Well, we started in the internet business together.
I see.
And we were doing internet expos. He started the internet expo. I was doing internet broadcasting. Today's Internet. He still thinks my Inside World Pickleball show is called Today's Internet, but it's an ongoing joke. It's he introduces me to people. And say, "Oh, here's Carl. He's the host of Today's Internet." I said, "No, George, that was 20 years ago." I said, 30 years ago. But Inside World Pickleball has been something we've worked together on, with the TV show and the podcast, really evolving into more of a podcast, like what you're doing right now. And that's a magazine format. What our concept was with that is everybody's got a pickleball story. You talk to anybody you meet, how they got into pickleball, and it's different. It's so cool because they may have come out of tennis, they came out of racquetball, golf, or they didn't play any sport. They're just getting exercise, and they're out there in the pickleball court. That's why this has become the fastest growing sport, and I see the future of this. It's the only sport that's growing leaps and bounds now all over the world, because we're talking about in Vietnam with the Pickleball World Cup. coming up. I just talked to Hercilio earlier today. I'm doing a cover story on him for the magazine. So we're tying in all the multimedia from the radio, the TV, the print, the on-site experience. People really get at these conventions, the 3 days. I mean, you see all age groups. You have open play. The kids come out there. You've got instructors. We're going to do a demo with the Palm Beach Royals. We'll have some of the pros doing exhibitions. We bring in some celebrities. Gordon Gebert with the Slam Master. He's out there doing some instruction and stuff. But it's just great to see. And every year we see this, expansion growing with new companies getting into pickleball. I mean, we've got pickleball wine. I got a pickleball real estate, pickleball lawyer. I got a pickleball podiatrist. You put pickleball in front of anything. I'm coming out with a new pickleball pain cream. So you can't wait till you see that.
Well,
it's mom's
wait till you see my pickleball art, right? So what I did is did you see that? So I took one paddle from each country that was represented in the World Cup. So we did England, we did, sorry, Italy didn't make it, but we did France, we did USA. And I took the pickleball and I had some really amazing artists airbrush them to look like the World Cup ball. So we were doing promotions down in Wynwood in Miami where people from whatever nation you were from, you could pick up the pickleball paddle and you could take up the pickleball and you could dink. Right? Just like you juggle a soccer ball. So that was a lot of fun. I have some pickleball wall art that's coming out. Right now, I've got one that's just about 144 pickleballs cut in half. And as you move from one side of the ball to the other side of those 144 balls, it changes colors as you move. So there's cool things that are happening out there that, that are surrounding pickleball. One of the really spectacular things that I see as I go to all the different courts around the country is that I'm really seeing more of the family component that's out there.
Yeah.
More, generational pickleball play. And that's why I really think that we can do some amazing things between the conventions and between the conference and bring pickleball together.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, as far as the kids go, the families, we do every year. We invite the kids out to get a free clinic with a pro.
Right.
And afterwards, we give them a paddle as well. Just take home. It's completely free. We try to do that to promote to families, to kids, the next generation. Oh.
And as I have both of you here, and it's something that as I talk to many other people in the industry, as I go through these different facilities, some are thriving and some are not, right? And we know the reasons why. And then, as you said, Carl, Chicken and Pickle, who, their moneymaker is really the food. It's not the pickleball. So it's the ability for people who are facility owners or go to different courts to be able to see what are some of those things they can do to help it thrive. Not just, the culture, which is something completely different, which I talk about on other shows and something that we're trying to bring together. But I think this is the absolute best platform that we can take from convention, the conference, to the multitude of the guests that we have on here to be a unifier. And that's the main thing. And as you have those paddles distributed and it's going home with those kids, is that, as Carl and I have spoke about before, is that we really get this into the school systems, right? And because it's truly the only game that we can reset, and I talk about the reset on my other shows, is that has the opportunity to use those core values, right? That these kids can use. Why does the game start 0-0-2? Why is the game where it's 7 feet from, one side of the net in the kitchen and the other side? It's about fairness, right? And that's what we can really do through education at the convention and also at the conference, letting these facility owners know, hey, you've got the platforms, let's use it, right?
And the other thing is there's a new app out called Player U, which you saw a little bit with Renee and Edwin Rosario, who's a former Marine. He's working with the veterans and working with us. With Player U app is really introducing people for the first time on an app. So it explains the game, the history, where it came from, 1965, back in Bainbridge. So it's been around for a while. And it was actually, I've talked to people over the years that were playing pickleball, didn't know what was pickleball in high school, in middle school. Bill Gates played in school. Bill Gates started playing pickleball in the 60s.
Kids too.
Yeah.
Kids. When I said, you got to play pickleball, you got to do it. Finally, I get them out there. Dad, you've been doing this since elementary school.
Yeah.
In the gym, they would have pickleball. It wasn't called pickleball, but it was the exact same thing. It was a wiffle ball with a paddle and a net, and they played it in gym back in, I'd say, 1999, 2000, 2005.
Yeah, it's really evolved. As we know, COVID is when people started getting out and started taking off. I mean, the U.S. Open just celebrated their 10th anniversary in Naples. So 10 years, and I've been involved there with the CBS project with Ray Kolovaki, who's the cover story at Pickleball Weekly this week. So we just did a whole story on his. He's really the broadcasting pioneer. He's the one that brought pickleball to CBS, and he's done it ever since for the last 10 years. And every year it's expanded. First it was like 1 hour tape delay. Now it's live, like almost every day of the week. So it's the biggest pickleball party in the world. So you've seen that thing grow, and it was just recently sold. Chris and Terry sold to another group. So you're seeing that business side where people are building up over the years. Pickleball tournaments sold. Melissa McCurley sold that to pickleball.com, and we've got Pickleball Central coming in this year, and Nicole Smith, who we met years ago. I think it's the very first convention. Yeah. Now she's back again, and she's going to be speaking at the conference. They've got they're in all the Dill Dinkers. So all these franchise groups that don't want to really be in the pro shop business, so they're sort of strategically partnering with Pickleball Central. They carry the inventory, so they come in and really manage the retail side. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these operators aren't experienced in food and beverage, and they think they can build these facilities and just start opening up. Sometimes they open up a restaurant that's maybe, the Ford has a very nice restaurant, might be out of place for pickleball. I mean, it's a super nice restaurant down there, but, I've heard people say, yes, we play pickleball, maybe the quick snack food or finger food or whatever. If we want to go out to eat, they're going to go out to eat. You're not necessarily going to go out to eat at a fine restaurant at a pickleball facility. So some of the things they're learning through these conferences. And there's other groups now doing like business, saying, okay, they're sharing ideas, best business practices. Especially if you're competing in the same market, it's one thing. But if you're competing around the country and around the world, and they're taking these, Pickleball Kingdom just opened up the first one in India, so the first franchise in India. So, and the PPA Tour is going over all these. APP just announced a big deal, multi-million-dollar deal, doubling their prize money, and they're going into England. The APP England, I think, is it this week or next week? It's like huge. Yeah. It's going to be the biggest international event out there. So, it's, we don't even know what's necessarily going on in these other countries right now, but you're going to see all these players. They're already infiltrating into the pros. Right.
Carl, as a member of the Fort, I know exactly what you're talking about. I get there almost every other morning. I'm playing there and I'm hitting my 200 to 300 pickleballs with my little training paddle. Cause that's kind of what I like to do.
Have you eaten at the restaurant?
I have many times, and I know what you mean. And it's not owned by the Fort. That's an independent restaurant.
Right.
So yes, absolutely.
And they're going to do the same thing at Boca Paddle coming up.
Right.
Boca Paddle, I just did a tour over there 2 days ago. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
There's going to be 14 indoor courts, 2 padel indoor.
Right.
5 covered outdoor with a stadium, and they've got a full cold plunge in there, and farmer's table right here in Boca is going to be handling the restaurant side.
Right. But circling back to 2 topics that I'd like to address, okay? And I have very strong feelings about it. As somebody who's really a soldier with boots to the ground, who I've been to dozens and dozens of facilities across this country now, and I see common themes that work and common themes that don't, right? One of the things is, as we mentioned, Dill Dinkers, we have Pickleball Central, right? One of the things that concerns me with that is that we have how many paddle companies, Carl? 1,500, 2,000 paddle companies, right? Yeah. There's a lot out there, right? Yeah. Tons of paddle companies, right?
Yeah. Every day there's...
I have to turn away paddle companies.
Right. I know, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Too many.
Yeah. But sometimes things come along, right? That are change, that are revolutionary, that are a little bit better. But guess what? I see Pickleball Central and what they're doing, but there's only X amount of paddles. And then you can't get on that wall. You can't approach that facility and say, hey, look at this. I'm, somebody who was in the medical field and sales a long time. All right. If something's prohibitive, it doesn't create a free market and the opportunity. So it can be on the other flip side of that might be a consideration. So that's my feeling about that. So,
the facilities do have options to bring in some local products. So there are some clauses in there, like, so if you want to carry some other things besides Pickleball Central, you can still do that. So it's not exclusive to Pickleball Central in most cases, from what I understand, talking to Will and some of the other people. So if you've got a local company in your backyard that's got a new product or whatever, they put it in the pro shop.
Okay.
But the thing is, they don't have to invest in all these paddles. If they're all on the wall and they're not selling, they got money tied up in inventory.
Oh, I understand that point.
Yeah,
100%.
right.
For the small business operator
Right.
carrying inventory. I grew up in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
You have food spoilage, you have this, right? Yeah? So those aren't donuts. I get it, right? But they don't have to take their money out of the pocket if you own the paddle company to put it on the wall. But you got to also look at what is that facility owner really getting in terms of percentages. I know I'm out there.
Right.
So there's the flip side of that too. There's two sides to the stories always, right?
Or you do what Diadem does because they have their own products.
Right.
So they're not going to let other people in there because they got their own paddles and products. So at the Diadem complexes, they're pushing all their products, which makes sense because they're in that business. Not every operator is, right?
I've also evaluated many of those apps that are out there, right? And a lot of them are good. They do a lot of good. But, circling back to the one that you were talking about, one thing that these apps don't really cover is culture. And that's the most important thing. Yeah. That's the spirit of 1965. That's the game, the fun, and the joy. You can teach somebody rules, but you got to teach them how to behave on the court.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That's the win, right?
Yeah, we saw some of the behavior at the recent MLP. I don't know if you saw a few of this. The Zane Navratil incident was against the Palm Beach Royals, where you body bag somebody, you jump in their face and just scream at the top of your lungs. That's a little bit over the edge. I mean, it's some of those types. I mean, it's obviously they're playing for prize money, and it's a little bit more serious than the rec players. But you see it in the rec players too. I mean, I see fights. I mean, breaking out over the score, or just crazy stuff.
We've traded crazy stories of what I've seen around here and what you've seen. And that's part of actually how we developed the rapport that we have, right? And it's funny because when that happened, I was on my way back home when you two arrived. So you saw it and I didn't at the MLP. So.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff. But it's a sport that's evolving. It's a culture that's evolving. And when you're mixing and matching all these different age groups, you got the seniors, you got the 55 plus communities, and you got the juniors, and then you got the pros at different levels. And and a lot of people, and I think we've talked about it before, is where you want to go out there. Open play is such a cool thing because you go in it, you meet so many different people, and sometimes people want to play in their groups. I can understand that because we have our groups and we play in, but I enjoy some of the times when, our groups aren't together. We just go and play open play, and you start meeting some other people that you bring into your group, and you start playing, we're playing in leagues now with other country clubs and resorts. So you're able to mix in. I think the leagues and the team concept is really the future of pickleball, more so than the tournaments. I mean, I've been in the tournament side and I'm sort of burned out of tournaments. I don't need any more medals. I don't need to spend all day long playing in tournaments, but I love the team concept. 2 men, 2 women. I think that works out great. You can mix and match with mixed doubles, ladies doubles, men's doubles at all levels, all age groups. I think that's why that's becoming so successful. I mean, from my opinion.
Okay. The other evening I went over to the Fort, which I've been a member of now for about a year. And, the kids behind the desk go, "Hey, Mark, how you doing?" Right? And they said to me, "What's your rating?" I said, "Well, does it matter?" And they said, "Well, you have to wear some type of bracelet." So now as you come into the
they're
Fort,
doing that now?
Really? So as you come into the Fort now, yes, you have to wear a color-coded bracelet like you're going into the concert. And that's an identifier for,
what's your duper?
What's your color?
What's your color? What's your duper?
So gentlemen, how do you feel about that?
I got pros and cons. I mean, I'm good friends with Tito and Duper. And I know there's another rating system out there called VAR that's, trying to figure out the rating system. And that's an ongoing, and when Tito spoke at the conference, I mean, he even had death threats before about people complaining about their dupers dropping after, they won a couple of matches and their duper dropped because they didn't play people high enough ranked. So there's an algorithm going on that they're still trying to figure out. I don't think there's no perfect setup. I don't know about identifying. I mean, a lot of people are self-rated. They walk in and you got challenge courts that said, I can play with these pros. Then they get out there and they said, maybe I can't play with these pros. So I think there's got to be a line drawn somewhere, depending if you're recreational or on the pro level. And when you go into different facilities, and like at the National Pickleball Center facility, they have it divided up. You've got to get rated by a coach and say, okay, the 4-0 courts over here, 4-0 and 4-0 to 4-5, 3-5 to 3-0, whatever, or beginners 2-5. And, beginners shouldn't be playing with the pros. That's not going to be a good experience for either side. I mean, so people got to understand that it's not a matter of ego or a matter of saying, okay, you're not good enough to play with me. But I mean, we go out and play with people. I mean, I play with my wife and I play with other groups. I'm not playing at a high level. We're just having fun. It's recreational. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not, getting serious about it. And, we're not playing for prize money. We're not playing for medals. We're just playing to have fun. It's, we can't lose the fun in the sport, because if we start losing the fun in pickleball, that's when it's going to start, people start looking for other things. I mean, it
all depends on who's playing as well. So some people want to play only at their level, and some people don't. Some people don't mind it.
Yeah. I mean, my wife asks me all the time, says, why don't we play? It's nothing against you, but I want to stay married.
Right.
Sometimes it's just,
of course.
There's a pickleball divorce lawyer I know, but I don't want to get involved with it.
That's true. So, gentlemen, I really want to, dive into the next level of where do you guys see pickleball headed in the future in terms of, the tournaments. We're not going to be talking about paddles. We're not going to be talking about, but in terms of, how do we unify this sport?
I think that's going to depend on, who's doing the unification, because there's so many organizations out there that have tried to unify or are trying to unify, and then it seems like it gets to a point and then it jumps to another organization. To be able to get into the Olympics, that's just it. We should be able to get into the Olympics. It's just that we can't unify all the countries, and there's no one that's actually taking the helm and leading and getting all the countries together to agree so that we could get into the Olympics.
I think that's great that you brought that up, because I just had this discussion the other day, and it's part of the the work that I'm doing overseas. And I went to the Dominican Republic, and we had a little 4 days where we're out there to get paddles to the kids who are underprivileged. And there's some amazing people across this country. Some I know locally who are doing great work. The World Pickleball Foundation, and some of the other ones that I've recently met. But the thing is that do we truly have enough countries to go into an Olympics yet? Right. And then I see a lot of people but I also see a lot of people doing work overseas, but are we doing enough work at home?
Yeah.
Well, there's a new head of the Global Pickleball Federation, Erica, who's going to be speaking at the conference. And Javier Regalado spoke at the last couple conferences. And there is a criteria with the Olympics. Now, she worked for Coca-Cola for 60 years, and Coca-Cola with the Olympics. So she's got, her task is to get pickleball into the Olympics. But there's things called drug testing. Yeah. There's things called the rules. There's things about having X amount of courts in other countries and enough people in other countries that have to meet that criteria before they can add the sport. Right. So it's growing, but we feel like the U.S. doesn't have to grow anymore, but it's the other countries that have to develop enough players to have teams. Like, you look at the Pickleball World Cup, and a lot of the countries don't even have enough players to field a team. Right. And they're not going to, how they're going to be competitive, in some of these competitions. Now, Pickleball World Cups is a stepping stone to bring awareness, and Hercule is doing a good job with that, getting countries together. I think they have 140 countries or something like that.
I understand. I was having 65.
Dinner.
I'm sorry.
I think you need 65 to be in the Olympics.
Oh, you need more than that.
65. I read it actually. I looked it up, and it said 65. Now, AI could be wrong, but yeah.
I was with the Minister of Sport and for the Dominican Republic and his wife having dinner, and he said to me, "Mark, we need $18,000 in order to get our folks over to the Worlds." And I'm like, "It's not that much money, but how do we get it?" Right? And if they're the ones going through that, there's so many other little countries and islands and territories that are trying to do the same.
Because they got to pay their own expenses to get there. So that's the thing. So it's not like they have sponsors and endorsements yet.
And we don't think that $18,000 is much here, but for them, and you're spending, those 4 days over there, I fed a whole village for, $100, and that's including beer.
You have arguably, let's say 50 million people playing pickleball around the world, right? More probably. I don't know what the exact number is, but let's say it's 50 million people. How could they not get pickleball into the Olympics? How the heck did they get breakdancing into the Olympics? And what's so hard about getting pickleball into the Olympics? Yeah. Should be, who actually went ahead and went to all these countries for breakdancing?
Well, George, I was breakdancing in the 80s.
Yeah,
just kidding. I
broke my lip.
It's been around a while. That's my only point. Yeah. And that's the difference, right? really, we've only been around since post-COVID in many ways, right?
Well, 65, whereas
right, but been around, but
no,
truly accelerated after COVID, right?
Right.
And then I think that's, we have a short memory of that too.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing too is the governance, the governance and the compliance issues, and that's what these three federations. One federation has to represent pickleball,
right?
And they don't have that right now. There's three different groups trying to fight through the egos of saying, who's taking the charge with the Olympics? Now the Global Pickleball Federation has had meetings with the Olympics already, and they reported on it at the last conference about and they said, this is what you need to do. You're not going to get in 2028. You might be able to get in as a demonstration sport in 2032. They're trying to accelerate that to get it to be a real sport. So a few things can happen. I mean, as one of the gentlemen told me, he said, if the Olympics wants to have pickleball in there, they could say tomorrow, forget about all the criteria. They're using that as a crutch because they're not ready to accept pickleball in it as an Olympic.
Could be.
Before, like racquetball, is it a fad? Is it going to work? I think it's past the fad stage where people believe now that it is a true sport, because we fought that for the last several years. It's like, it's going to go like racquetball. There's all these pickleball courts are going to become, vacant. They're going to become something else. But we're seeing it with the tennis courts now turning into pickleball, and that whole, look around Boca. I mean, Boca West just built 25 courts, covered courts, a stadium, taking away half their tennis courts because the members wanted it. So if the people are speaking,
even the people who I know don't play pickleball, right? They say, "Oh no, pickleball's here to stay." They know, they see it. Their friends play it. They want, I just haven't had time, but I'm going to play. I can't tell you how many people in the course of the day I have that conversation with. So that's really exciting. Thank you for answering that question, because I think that's a big question that the audience needs to know about, where it's headed. Any other things that you see, how we can help get those couple of different organizations to work together if we strip ego out of it?
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I know.
And the thing is, you got USA Pickleball Association, and they got the UPA. So you got two associations now that don't talk to each other. One's making their own rules. UPA has now become a nonprofit and try to separate themselves from PPA and MLP, which they're all part of the same family, but they're trying to separate themselves because there's just not collusion, but there's just a lot of information going on that, I'm not sure it's good for competitive spirit to have different tours. I'm not saying in different leagues. That's not a problem. But if for the overall sport, is it going to benefit everybody if pickleball gets to the Olympics? Of course.
Right.
So everybody should be trying to work towards that goal, to be recognized as an Olympic sport, because that's going to be a game changer.
And part of that process is, as you mentioned earlier, you have 5 different rating systems now. And so when you go to somebody and say, what's your rating, and nobody knows what talks to one another.
Yeah, they just came out the World Pickleball rankings. They came up with another new ranking for the pros. Right. That's just for the pros. But right now, I mean, Duper's got a pretty good handle.
And that's for what? It's mixed doubles, singles, and then what else?
Men's doubles.
Men's
and ladies doubles. I mean, so you're ranked as a doubles player, and not so much singles is sort of dying off a little bit, because there's, it's still there in the pro level. But this whole team concept has changed the singles tournaments. I mean, a lot of tournaments don't even. I mean, I used to play singles all the time. I love singles.
I love singles too. But I can't find anybody to play singles with, and I want a singles court. But then that's another show, right?
That's another show. I'll play singles with you.
All right. I don't know. I know you got a really high Duper rating, so I don't know. But the other thing is that being involved in everything across this sport, and I'm still new to it, and being very neophytic, I still hear about everything and have become a part quite a bit. And I've watched destruction, and even just the Pickleball Hall of Fame has just imploded. You used as an example, right? Yeah, and that's too much infighting.
Right. They tried to get that off the ground, and it was two different groups. One that started it, Seymour Rifkin, started the Pickleball Hall of Fame when it was just on paper. But then they had the Mobile Pickleball Hall of Fame 2 years ago at the U.S. Open. We did a whole story on that, and but it's not there yet. I mean, Cal Yates is 28 years old and is in the Hall of Fame. So, but he's a great player. He was one of the first GOATs. I mean, he won the first U.S. Opens. He spoke at our Naples conference. Great
young man.
Yeah, and now he's in the business side running Pickler. groups.
Right.
And so I've seen these pros now. All these pros have business models now because it's become, whether they're either managing clubs, they're teaching clinics, they're endorsing products, and it is a big business now. But there's only a certain number of pros. The second tier of pros aren't making any money.
Look, we don't have Martina. We don't have John, right? We don't have Andre. We don't have Roger. Not yet.
Yeah.
But that's coming.
Well, you have Andre.
Right?
Andre's in there now.
I mean, Andre and then from the tennis side of it, right?
Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Famer yet?
Tennis? Oh, yeah.
No,
Tennis?
no. Of course,
Pickleball?
tennis.
No.
In pickleball.
Yeah.
No,
he
I know he's in the
he-
tennis Hall of
He
Fame.
hasn't competed really.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's what my point was, right?
Yeah.
Andre is not in for pickleball, right?
But he's starting the World Series of Pickleball in Vegas, so
Okay.
watch out for that.
All right.
He's got Agassi Sports Entertainment that's getting ready to take over and do a lot of big pickleball events. So he's into it big time. He's invested in Duper. He's invested in a lot of the major companies now. So him and Steffi are all in. So and that's good for the brand because he was supposed to have a team in our Champions League. And he was going to play for the Vegas team. So he's very competitive. But I think you need some names, household names, because Cal Yates is the GOAT. But if you walk down the street, nobody knows really.
Right.
Who's Cal Yates?
You said it, not me. Okay,
Right.
I've thought it and I've said it too. But
Right.
Kyle, it's nothing against Kyle whatsoever.
No.
It's just the state of the nation, right?
Yeah.
But what gives us the opportunity right now, at the point that we're at, and that everything is, comes out of chaos, gets restructured and hopefully gets better. So that's part of the reason why I'm really honored to have you both here, because you've been in the industry so many years and seen it from so many different angles, from the past, the present, and how we move to the future, and how, like you said, when we were talking with Renee Pratts and Will Richardson from Dill Dinkers, is that, the co-opetition, right? How do we now get everybody in the younger generation who we see here, who are becoming new owners, new players, new business people, right? And especially when I was at the MLP to see this young 13-year-old girl, right, who a strong wind could practically blow away, hit the cover off the ball, right? And that 15-year-old boy, right, the future of pickleball, right? How do we get them right now, starting today, right, to get on the same page and realize is that we have the greatest opportunity in the world right now. We had an industrial revolution, we had a technical revolution, and right now through pickleball, we can have a spiritual revolution. Let's do it. Let's all get together, right? Let's go on the same page and let's rise and raise the bar of social consciousness through pickleball. We have the opportunity. Now the next great reset comes through the school and educational system, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's you got to get to the kids early.
Get to the
Start at
kids.
the school, middle school. I mean, they're already doing. They're starting to do it.
Yeah.
Middle school, high school. The colleges are starting to take off with pickleball clubs right now. There's scholarships available in some colleges. A good friend of ours has got a pickleball scholarship at a small college. I mean, that's great to see because they're adding that. They're seeing that they had the pickleball championship, and the FAU team right here from Boca won the national and international championships. But a good friend of mine, Bella Nelson, who started playing pickleball with us over at El Rio here, right out of COVID. And now she's a pickleball champion. I think she's 19 now, maybe, or something. But yeah, it's all there. It's all there. And it's a great sport to be involved with. It brought me out of retirement, got me off the golf course. And now I'm playing pickleball every day, so it's.
How about starting a council, right? Starting today, we get everyone together, one from each group, and we all have them sit down and we figure this out.
Leaders Council, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, leadership councils.
Because once again, when you go back to those apps, they teach you the rules, but they don't teach you the culture, right? And I think if we have a leadership culture, a panel that really addresses is that, the whole spirit of 1965, getting back to it and saying, hey, look, guys, we're all over the place, right? Let's bring it together. Let's start to figure this out now.
I think one of the things too is you're seeing a lot of the nonprofits, the foundations. We're doing a lot of the Veterans Association. There's different United Ways I'm doing a big thing with Nikki Roth with the United Way coming up.
Nikki's coming on next week.
Yeah, well, Nikki's great, and we're working with Nikki and Tommy Knapp. I was just with Tommy over the Boca paddle.
Tommy's wife was here last Thursday. We had an amazing time.
You told me.
Yeah, we did. We had a fantastic time. Yeah.
So I mean, we're interconnecting, and trying to grow the community because. In the Palm Beach Royals, I give them credit because they're doing it right, because they're doing a youth program. They're doing a foundation. And they've hired like somebody like Nikki, who's working in the community, doing social events, bringing out the veterans event we went to, but they're also bringing out and helping United Way and other nonprofits, because pickleball is that connector. Pickleball can be that connector to raise funds, but also help people in these other. It's getting people out of the house, and even people never touched a paddle before. When we were out there, there's those guys that were playing, the veterans. They never played pickleball before. Within 10, 15 minutes, they're out there. You hear them giggling, having a great time, and just to be out and being able to do something.
I witnessed it. I was there.
Yeah,
100%.
Fighting the
fantastic.
PTSD, physically and mentally. Pickleball is therapy. I mean, that's it.
It is.
I saw a lot of those guys who I talked to, and there was some of the ladies as well, but more so the gentlemen who were there, and and how they've been affected, and really opening up their heart and going, wow, this is something different, and going and trying something. This is something I can do, and the camaraderie that we saw over there with everybody who was working as a community to help them through their things that they sacrificed for our country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, I really want to thank you for your time. I think you've really helped, the listening audience to have a better understanding of where pickleball is at now, not only as a business, but the overall state of the nation of pickleball. But once again, it's people such as yourself who have been the forefathers and the pioneers of sport, of convention, of organizing people, the business component, but the overall unifiers. So I just want to thank you very much. It's an honor to be in your presence, and thank you for coming to the Pickleball Talks.
Our pleasure. Keep up the good work, Mark.
Yeah,
right,
thanks, Mark. We'll see you at the convention.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Pickleball Talks, a podcast of the Interact Pickleball Network. My name is Mark Sarazin. Please listen to us across all platforms, and also look for my upcoming TV show, The Pickleball Talks, which will be shown on Apple and Roku. Thank you, and have an amazing evening.